she had this smile on her face and was like very welcoming to me. And when I first held her, that was a feeling of just like, gosh, I'm not gonna let this go.
My daughter, her name is Ashen, and she was born on Halloween in 2007. She's brilliant, beautiful, talented. She saved my life, I say.
It's in the egg.
Inside the egg. Must be a tiny toy ice cream. Wow.
You can even take the parts off, see?
I don't think family unity is a priority in this country. You look at where's money being cut these days. It's being cut from food stamps. It's being cut from social programs. It's being cut from Social Security. It's being cut from welfare programs, aid programs. Those all disproportionately affect families, particularly lower income families, particularly minority lower income families. And that's what hurts the most, I think.
I think we should win for the, I think we should just quit the volleyball game and go to the volleyball.
And go to the spooky house. So I remember when we were getting ready to bring her home, they were talking about who the father was on the paperwork, and she didn't list any, so it was just unknown. And I was sitting at this interview with her, just as her friend, and that part was tough because I realized, like, here I am, and she's gonna be trying to collect benefits for my daughter, and we're not gonna mention me. And so the titles change as well, Mom becomes head of household, and so those words actually hurt when you're sitting there doing the paperwork and it says head of household and Mom puts her name on there, and you're just like, wow. So I'm just like a ghost. But I'm here, and we left it at that, not even considering that we might have a CPS case open and that this might be an important document for anybody that's involved in my daughter's life.
People in desperate situations will do desperate things. So to the degree that our public policy and lawmaking continues to keep people in desperate situations, guess what? They will do things that those of us who aren't in that desperate situation would think to be improper or desperate themselves.
It's almost a countermeasure of a family being able to make it. And it's a poverty countermeasure, when I look at it, it's you wouldn't do it if you didn't have to do it. My daughter was taken by CPS, entered into the system, and that's when it hurt the most, because I went there to pick up my daughter. The emergency worker said, Mr. Cordero, we can't reunify you with your daughter immediately because, one, you're not on the birth certificate. I just remember my heart just dropping into my stomach because I was just going back to when she was born and when I should have signed it. So I was like, well, there's no reason for me to be here then. And she goes, well, wait a minute, you're the father, so you have rights. I think my blood went from here to at least like right here. And I was able to listen to her. And after she told me I had rights, she said, I can't reunify you, but I can set up visits right away. And I needed that visit because I needed to let Bianca know that I'm gonna I'm coming through. I don't care what it takes. She's only 2 at the time, but I needed to tell her that.
Fathers really have all the rights that mothers have. Fathers have the rights to visit their children if they're not living with them. Fathers have the right to be involved in their children's educational life, their medical life. They have the right to make decisions as much as mothers do. I don't know that fathers understand this.
Our daughter was born healthy, 6.5 pounds. We were going to be discharged. The social worker said, I have to make a report to CPS. I really thought that we would be okay because we had a safe place to live. It was a family transitional housing unit run by Catholic Community Charities. We weren't able to take our daughter home. They detained. But that is the single most painful event of my life, having to leave the hospital and leave my daughter there in the hospital. What we were coming up against pretty quickly was when originally our daughter was detained and now she's living with these relatives. She wasn't in our care, so technically we were not eligible for the transitional housing program. So they were saying, unless you can get 51% of custody, unless you can get your daughter staying with you 51% of the time, you're not going to be able to continue to live here. It was coming down to the point we were going to lose that housing, and that was going to make it more difficult for us to be able to. Where were we going to reunify with our daughter if we were homeless? We were doing everything that we were supposed to be doing. We were in treatment, we were in therapy, we were in couples therapy. We were, visiting with our daughter. The visits were going well. We were in dependency drug court, going regularly to our status hearings. But still, the argument was being made that, we should lose this housing.
Like what?
So, as I'm reunifying with my daughter, just this stuff is coming at me, and I'm just totally blessed. Homeless Prenatal Program is starting a fatherhood group. A fatherhood group that they asked me to be a part of. I think one day you're going to be coming to the group and letting us know, or maybe she'll be in child care. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I felt really, really passionate about it at this point. Like I'd already started to do it a little bit, and I felt like, okay, this is something I want to do. This is something I think I could do. This is something I could help people the way that I was helped. And so started volunteering at Homeless Prenatal Program in September of 2011. And then since then I've been co-facilitating the fatherhood group with Joey Cordero. My position became full-time in August of 2012.
Do I go by the court paper, or do I just?
Yeah, it seems like there's a document that says that this is the way that the visits are supposed to happen, and that they're not happening that way. You said
the fatherhood group at Homeless Prenatal Program is a lot of dads that have CPS cases. We don't exclude dads that don't have CPS cases, but a lot of it is just helping them navigate through the first process, because it's so traumatic for somebody in the beginning. And we see a lot of different things, and so the insight coming from me and Eli is really important. I feel your frustration, but at the same time, I just would encourage you just to kind of lean on that side where you just don't give up, staying clean.
Well, I was kind of scared of raising a child because I had resources, and Displaced Homeless Prenatal has helped me out a lot on how to be a father group. They showed me, connected me with networks of housing, daycare, all that kind of stuff. So I've been working towards that, how to learn to get all that kind of stuff.
Go ahead, Barry.
my name is Barry. My child is 5 years old. I'm checking in. I'm going to see her tomorrow.
Daughter's staying with my sister right now. and we've been fighting a CPS case for at least 2010.
Let's do the best work in the beginning so that in the end we don't uproot this child from this community and place him and get him adopted somewhere else.
So I know how to lay it down. And this will take some minute to really be doing that. I'm gonna really have to do her hair and braid it and all that. Well, I got me a few friends.
Okay, so now read the whole thing again.
She is the main character. She focuses.
I had a difficult time, and I didn't realize it was difficult until my lawyer goes, wow, we don't, you know, this is a big deal. We don't usually see people reunify with their kids, let alone dads.
If a little boy can see a man, a father, who can show him the way men ought to act, as opposed to the way men sometimes act, as far as drugs are concerned or domestic violence is concerned, then that's all the better. And if that man has a little girl, that little girl is going to know this is the way she should be treated by men when she grows up.
I want fathers to know how important they are to their kids, and I want fathers to know that they are appreciated for what they're doing.
Now you have a medal on.
You want to tell me all about it?
Tell you all about it. So I was at an award ceremony today where they gave me this medal. See where it says champion in recovery? So recovery means when you get better. That's what I was given it for, because I'm getting a lot better.
And what?
Everything.
Me too.
Yeah, you are.
Not
Comprehension. You are getting better at comprehension. Just the fact that you can say comprehension is proof of that.